Welcome to day 3, practicing self-care. So, again, I am today's presenter, Trisha Coleman. 12 days of master classes is being presented by Talk to Trisha. So, today's discussion, we're going to cover defining self-care benefits, understanding self-care, practicing self-care, a few great self-care exercises, and the self-care industry in business. So, as I have stated the last 2 days, I'm going to try to end on how you can market your existing business or a business you aspire to start or buy, uh, to include each topic every day. So, how do you market your product as a wellness product? How do you market your product to show people appreciation or gratitude? That was yesterday's topic. And so we're going to end with how do you market your product or service to be about self-care so you can corner that market. And we're going to go a little more into consumer segments towards the end. So, what is self care? So, self care is any act you deliberately do to take care of your mental, physical, emotional health. So, I love this quote that I saw in this video. Um, so, when you take time out to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. And so, this was part of the video that I have uh, on the side. And she goes through her self care practices, some things you can do at home that are cheap and easy, quick, that replenish you, make you ready to start the day. Even if everything is going right in your life, we all have uh, those feelings of inadequacy, those feelings of uh, not feeling great about yourself. And so you can do a self-care day, and there's plenty of videos on YouTube. I saw so many of them, but I really liked this one, and so I'm sharing it. So, self-care day, hitting the reset button, and it starts off with this quote, and then she goes into a spill of how she's feeling, and then shows you the actual exercises that she does. So I loved it, so I shared it. Uh, Self care can be asking for help, spending time alone, putting yourself first, asking for what you need, setting boundaries, staying at home, saying no, forgiving yourself, and taking a step back. And that's a big one. Taking a step back. Uh, Asking for what you need is also a big one. I'm speaking for myself, but I know a lot of people have issues with that. Setting boundaries is another. So, doing that in of in and of by itself, any of those in a circle is considered self care. How people benefit from self care. Self care tends to boost our immune system, and there's a whole scientific uh, um, reason behind that I'm not equipped to teach about, but I did read about it. Increase positive thinking, and it makes you less susceptible to stress, anxiety, depression, and other emotional health issues. So, some more benefits: it lessens the effects of getting older, or at least the ailments and annoyances that come with it. And I am the first to say getting old is for the birds. It's a blessing, but it's also awful. But we think of it as a blessing that you're able to live a long life, and that life be full of health and happiness and joy. Uh, Self care prevents future illnesses. keeps you fit and healthy because you're taking care of the vessel that you came to this earth with. Uh, Feeling good about yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and feeling responsible for your health and wellness. So we're going to go into practicing healthcare, but first talking about understanding self-care. So self-care is something that refuels you. It doesn't take from you. It's not something you force yourself to do. It's not something that you do that you don't enjoy doing. So if it feels like a chore, if it feels like, oh, I gotta do this, then it's not self-care. It's something that you do that you enjoy, that you revel in. And it's not selfish, like putting yourself first. And I will probably repeat this again, putting your mask on before you put it on anyone else is necessary. If you run yourself down, if you're so stressed out, you drop dead of a heart attack, whatever whatever happens, if you get to where, like, I manifest sickness physically. So I've had times in my life where I was so stressed out that I couldn't move my neck, I couldn't move my body. I had to take muscle relaxers just to function. And so I now have two small kids. I could not run behind them and do activities with them, get them juice, fix them something to eat, give them baths if I have to take muscle relaxers just to move. So I do small things throughout the day and regularly that I consider self care, and I'm going to delve even more into it. I just researching this topic um, gave me more things that I can do, but I kind of have a self care regimen. But it was great to find other ideas that I hadn't thought of, like that I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it was nice. I was like, oh, I could do that, and I could do this too, and I could change this, and instead of doing that, I can do this little activity, and I could do that, and I take 5 minutes a day, So it helped me, and I'm sharing everything that I'm learning with you all. So here's our question time. What activities bring you joy? So reading brings me joy, writing brings me joy, watching videos brings me joy. Being out in nature brings me joy, even though I itch and breaking the hives, like I share, it still brings me joy. Baking brings me joy. Let me think. Oh, a lot of small things. I love to laugh, so comedies. Um, I just try to fill my life now with things that make me smile and put me in a positive mindset. So when you see this, put on our Instagram, our Facebook, or our Twitter, comment what activities bring you joy. So 7 tips for good self-care. Look out for number one, and I'm not saying that as a selfish thing, but it's the same as if you're on an airplane and the air masks come down. They say put yours on first before you put it on your kids or anyone else. And it's the same concept daily through life. Make sure you are in a good headspace. You are in good physical health, that you feel good about yourself, that your body feels good. Because, again, going to motherhood or parenthood, how you raise your kids now, when they get older, they're going to either overcome it, or what you instill in them or what they see as an example is what they're going to use to build whatever character, whoever they're going to become. So, let's start caring for ourselves so our children learn to take care of themselves. And that's a positive cycle that we can pass on. Choose proactive self care. That's versus reactive self care. So start proactively doing things to prevent a crisis, prevent you from burnout, prevent you from just losing it. versus, okay, I just had a meltdown. Now I have to implement some things to take better care of myself. Or I just had a heart attack. Now I have to implement some things to take better care of myself. So let's start being proactive with our self care versus like now we have to live with a condition or a ailment, and our taking care of ourselves is a like I need to do this to stay alive versus I can live a fulfilling life because I've implemented my self care proactively. Do what works for you. Like what works for someone else will not work for you. I'll use me and my spouse as an example. Like when he exercises, he goes in. You know, no matter what size he is, he goes in. And I'm just like, once I break a sweat, I'm good. So that doesn't work for me. And I like reading all types of books, whereas he likes just business books. So, that what he will do won't work for me. I love vegetables. Um, I don't really care for a lot of meat. I mean, I like it when it's cooked well, but I'm not a big meat eater. Whereas him, that's all he wants. So if I was going to say like, hey, let's try to do a vegetarian diet for a week, that would not work for him at all. Seek therapy is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. It's a sign of self love that I love myself enough to make sure I get through the issues, or that I am in a positive headspace. I'm not carrying the traumas of my youth or the traumas of past jobs or the traumas of bad relationships in with me. That therapy helped me cut a lot of baggage I was holding on, and a lot of um, misconceptions. Like I had a false idea of where I was supposed to go and where I was supposed to be in my career and in life, and it really helped me say, "Oh no, it's okay not to be here. It's okay not to accept this, and it's okay to not want to be a housewife and just sit around the house and take care of kids all day. That's okay too." Uh, Again, going back to the last tip, doing what works for you, setting boundaries. I am personally working on that myself, so I'm not going to stay on that long because I have not mastered that, but I will. Write it down in a list. Whatever activities you want to do, self care, write it down. It's more likely you'll do it. And then schedule me time in your daily routine. So, like I shared before, I use my phone, use my digital calendar. I schedule time for myself. I can do it where my whole family can see it, or I can do it where only I see it. So that's something you can do, and it'll pop up a reminder so you know, oh, I need to take my relaxing bath, or I need to do my walk, or I need to go get a massage, and it's scheduled for you. And you can sit down and take 15, 30 minutes and, you know, plan. And so when it pops up and gives you a reminder, you're like, oh, yes, let me do it. It's just amazing how we make time and we put other things and other people and other organizations' goals ahead of ourselves. So just as much energy and time and space that you give to everything else outside yourself, give yourself the same thing. So self care practices. Take a detox bath. Add the Epsom salt, the sea salt. Um, Add some bubble bath to it. Light a candle. Listen to music. Just let the toxins, come out your body and relax. And that's taking care of your body. And you decide how often you want to do that. Unplug for a day or two. Like we have become slaves to our phones. we become slaves to social media. So, like, just take a day where you don't pick up your phone. Take a day where you don't post on Instagram, you don't post on Twitter, you don't post on Facebook. You could go on a complete digital detox, media fast, or just from the whatever takes your attention the most. I remember years ago, before social media was even a thing, I used to be addicted to the radio. Like, if I was driving and the radio had to be on, and I fasted from it, and now I don't drive with the radio on at all. Like, I don't even drive with music playing. So, and it makes my ride, I can think and I can go over things and go over a checklist. And then I'm not so enthralled with a song, or I'm not, so into it that I miss a turn, or I don't hear what the GPS, what my phone's GPS is saying. So it's helped me a whole lot. And then, you know, um, certain music carries messages, or just the melodies and the tones and put you in a certain mood. And so if you're, you know, having, and I'm simplifying it, but you have songs that make you angry, then when you go into wherever you're going to, then you're going to have that energy. If you have a song with negativity in it, negative lyrics, or glorifying um, a lifestyle that you don't want to live or have or carry with you, then it's best to turn that radio off, drive, keep your mind clear, and then it can help you have a great day. And once it becomes a practice, then you implement that and you don't carry it's a word I'm looking for, but I just cannot think of it right now. But you don't carry the energy that certain music has. So chocolate or a glass of wine is one. Um, in moderation. Both happen to be sedatives and stimulants, so it calms you down, but it perks you up. And so, without you being psycho, and then you feel good. Like, it's like, I feel lovely. I feel balanced. I feel, like I'm cool. I'm chill. Like I said, oh, my heart's warm and my heart's happy. You know. Some other practices: rest, like take a full day to rest, rejuvenate, just do nothing day. We all need that. We need a day where we do absolutely nothing. Enjoy a hobby, do something that gives you a sense of creation. The link that I posted is 50 hobbies you can do. And some of them, like, that's what I was saying, as I was researching, I was like, I might start doing that. I might start doing that one. That looks fun too. And not gonna overwhelm myself. Just gonna pick one I know I can stick with. And they had different categories as well. So I love that article, and so I hope y'all check it out. Eat healthier. Like, nobody's saying go vegan or vegetarian. Nobody's saying you can't eat things that aren't the best things for you. Like, even though all the articles I was reading and videos I was watching were saying, like, oh, cut out the alcohol, cut out the sugar, we got to be realistic. If you're addicted to chocolate, like I'm addicted to chocolate, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to cut it out, but I can add more fruits and more vegetables to my meals. I can be more conscious of what I put in my body. So just, I said eat healthier. So I said eat healthy. I said eat healthier. Because we got one body, one go around, and so we got to do our best. You know, uh, I could not see being a vegetarian and hating it just so I can live till I'm 90. I'd rather have some chocolate every now and then and live till I'm 85. Meditate or pray, whatever your spiritual practice is, but make sure you maintain something that feeds your spirit. Quick and easy, that's like quick and easy things, cheap things you can do um, for self-care, things you can do while you're at work, things you can do before you go to bed, like you can jot a few things you're grateful for, take 3 to 5 minutes. I'm grateful that this happened. I'm grateful I closed this account. I'm grateful that I got to leave early. I'm grateful that the company bought lunch. Whatever you're grateful for, you can just jot that down. Grateful that my daughter said she loved me, which that's true. Baby, my youngest, came, sat in my lap, was like, "Mama, I love you," and I was like, "Oh." The try sheet mask. Maybe do a 30-minute massage during your lunch break. Make yourself a smoothie. There's so many different things that are quick, like going for a walk during lunch. So many different things you can do that don't cost much or cost anything. And go into the museum. That's free in most cases. And decluttering. I think this is the biggest, even though most people don't really think of it. I think a lot of people think of it now because of like the Marie Kondo type of thing and Spark and Joy. But do you not realize how much clutter steals your time, your energy, your peace? And as you purge and you make room for stuff, how much freer you feel, how much lighter you feel. It just feels good. Some self-care exercises. So create a no list. Like, I've been talking about like only speak positive, only, think of good things, but create a no list, things you don't want to do. Um, the things that you plan on no longer doing, you know, and post it somewhere where you can see it. So you're not tempted um, to do those behaviors anymore, or not attracting the things that you don't want. Like you can even say like no debt, so that you can consciously pay down your debt or find another revenue generating source where you can clear your debt, you know. So create you a no list. Set up a 15-day care routine just to start getting your beak wet. If you don't already have a self-care routine, you can use some of the practices that I mentioned, or some that you may be doing, or some you may find. And every day, like do a 15 day self care challenge. You can Google that, and I saw about 10 on the first page of the results. So you could do that, and like the ones that like spend a day with a friend, do the bath, detox bath. It just had different things you could do. Relaxation or meditation, however you want to go about it. You can Google that or YouTube some videos, or just do, again, what works for you. Create a gratitude list. Opt out of news and ads. That, I know I've said that about, this will be my third or fourth time saying that, but that right there has been one of the biggest things, because I am a newsletter hoarder. I used to like hoard lots of paper. I kind of still do, but I'm a whole lot better than I used to be. But I used to have like stacks of paper. But I will subscribe to anybody's newsletter, especially if you're like, oh, get this free report. And then they'll send all these emails, and I don't open those emails because all I really wanted was the report. And then I get to where I have like 1,000 or 5,000 emails because I've subscribed to all these newsletters. So I have to go and I have to unsubscribe, and then I have to go and delete all these emails that I never read and I was never going to read. And then I had it on my phone where first thing on the screen was the news. And I was like, it's just put me in such a foul mood most days. So I rearranged it where that's not the first thing that I see. So big thing for my mental and emotional health. Learning to cook, and that's like you can try recipes. One of the things that I've been doing is looking up air fryer recipes. And so I made a mini apple pie, and I don't even like pie, but it came out kind of good. So I'm proud of me. I fried some chicken in the air fryer, which I had never done before. It came out tasty as well. Um, Taking a cooking class if you like, uh, find a cookbook and just following the steps, whatever you need to do. And then once you get the hang of how your stove works or what flavor combinations you like the best, then you can try to do it healthier. Um, Taking a walk before you pick up your phone or you log into Facebook or you check your email. That's a big self-care exercise you can do. And just try it for a few days and see how your day goes. And then honoring your inner child. So there's something that we all love to do when we were children that we don't do anymore. Or there's something that, like I have a real huge silly side. So there's things that, and I have I don't want to say I'm a loner, but I love to do things by myself. Like I have children, I have a spouse, uh, but I like to do things myself. And so, um, one of the things that I want to get into, and I said it uh, either yesterday or the day before, day one, like I used to cycle, I used to ride my bike all the time, everywhere. And I no longer do. I haven't been on a bike in, I haven't been on a bike so long. But that's something I want to bring back because I can actually do that. And I used to throw parties for myself, like just dance parties. Like I do every blue moon, like a glow in the dark party with my kids, or just something fun. But like it's been years I've just done like a party on my own. Like, hey, I'm gonna give myself a playlist, have a few snacks, and just like party on my own, you know, because my inner child loves music and loves to dance, and so I need to do more to honor her. So it's a bonus question, just to tie it all up before we get into the business side of things. Where can you add self-care to your already busy schedule? We know you have a million things to do. What's some things, even if it's 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, if it's um, on your way home during your commute, you could do some self-care things, even if it's breathing exercises, whatever you need to do. But start thinking, where can you add those activities into your schedule? So some self-care businesses that are more prevalent, there's any business you can make into a self-care business, a wellness business. But looked and looked and looked, and these were the common ones that kept popping up. So they have pamper or self-care kits, aromatherapy, chakra stones, self-care retreats, workshops, life coaching, and podcasts. I was like, podcasts? There's so many self-care podcasts, so obviously people are listening to them, or they wouldn't still be giving you content and running. But self-care is a $10 billion industry. So why not get a few dollars out of that 10 billion? So Think question, how can you market your product or service to be a self-care product or service? So this is Self-Care Consumer Segments. It's a company called IRI. I saw it stands for Information Resources Inc. They're a market research company. So they've worked with so many different brands, and they have segmented the self-care consumer. So you have healthy passives, that's 22%, active seekers, 18, proactive naturalists, preventive moderates, unconcerned realists, and it says doctor, and then awakened and dedicated. And so this lets you know what each of them means. So we have proactive naturalists. They're motivated by keeping fit and preventing illness. Awakened and dedicated, they're seeking a balanced life and more energy. Doctor, they're dealing with health conditions, but they try to stay healthy as they age through medications and guidance from health professionals. Um, Healthy passives, they have no motivation to adopt self-care behaviors. They're healthy. They haven't had to deal with anything too serious. So this, how you know who to target your product with. Preventive moderates, no distinctive self-care motivation. They want to prevent illness and stay fit and healthy, and they're open to vitamins and supplements and prescription meds as needed. So as you decide, okay, how can I turn my product or service to be to target self-care consumers, then you know, okay, this is the market I want to go after. So your messaging, how you product your, how you package your product, uh, um, needs to speak to that segment. So we're going to end with food for thought. An empty tank will take you nowhere. Take time to refuel. So it's kind of similar to the quote that we did before, but just driving it home. If you're on empty, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to do much. You're not going to be productive. So take the time to keep yourself fueled. Take the time to keep yourself healthy, mind, body, spirit. So I'm going to end here. Hopefully you join me for tomorrow. We're talking about mindfulness. And that's something that I did not know I was striving to practice. I kept saying being present. I need to be more present in the moment. I need to be more present in the moment. I need to be here. I need to, my mind's always in the future, or it's always in the past. It's never, you know. So that was part of mindfulness. So we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to end here. Please comment, share, um, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.